Greetings. Welcome to another episode of I Have a Testimony with your host, Brother Willie Muhammad.
God came to us to seek and to save that which was lost. He raised a man from among us.
He, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, laid the foundation. What I'm doing is something that comes from him through me, and the thing that he uses in me to do the work is my faith in him and the word that he taught. To produce men and women who wanted to clean up their life and build an independent nation for the glory of God.
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is a leader who consistently works to uplift and enlighten and empower Black women and women of all races and genders.
I love how you speak about the Black woman and how you are focusing and telling men if they don't protect the Black woman or the woman in general, that they are not a man. And I love that. I love that.
Women have to realize, and they are realizing, their extreme value. Whenever you devalue a woman, you're destroying civilization. So the Me Too movement and the movement of women all over our planet is saying that the women have had enough of the misrule of men, because women are not the women of man. Woman is the woman of God.
And this is just one reason why women support him. Despite his enemies' attempts to get them to turn against him, as seen with our sister, Tamika Mallory.
When you were on The View on Monday, and Meghan McCain kept asking you, do you denounce Farrakhan? Do you believe that what your critics want is they want to hear you say, I denounce Louis Farrakhan?
I've been asked by a number of people to do that. I mean, I've been asked to condemn, to denounce, and I have said and will continue to say that I do not agree. My position, to be very clear, is that America has condemned and denounced Black people for far too long. I am not going to participate in using that type of language to describe anyone in my community, and particularly someone who has been engaged in saving the lives of young Black men that I have to work with every single day.
Today we have with us one of the many sisters whose life has been positively impacted by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Sister Sonya Muhammad. She holds a leadership position in the ranks of the MGT and GCC. She's a wife, she's a Muslim woman, and a businesswoman as well. Thank you for accepting our invitation, dear sister.
Oh, thank you, Brother Willie, for having me on. It's such an honor. It's such a privilege, and I'm so humbled, beloved. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So we're going to get right down to it. So from my observation of you and hearing you doing conference calls and interacting with you when I've come to Monroe, Louisiana, and seeing you on social media, to me, you are a person that loves life and you enjoy life. Can you talk about how you maintain your joy and your love for life?
Oh, wow. It's just jumping in and, just doing it, Brother Minister Willie. When you know that God has blessed you to be here for a short time, you want to take that time and just enjoy the best way you can. And one of the things in enjoying that life that God has given us is to honor him first. Honor him first in everything that we do. And he said he'll give you the desires of your heart. So whether that's going and traveling or spending time with your family or just having time to yourself, we need that. We need to take that time for ourselves sometime, and so I've done that. I've taken the time for myself. I have a wonderful husband, that I enjoy being with. I have very comical children that keep me laughing all the time, you know, and I have a group of women that surround me, that show me that they love me and they enjoy having me in their company. So I just want to be one to give love to everyone who's around me. And so it's just as simple as that.
That's beautiful. So in preparation for this interview, I had the opportunity to talk to some people that love you. Your husband, I spoke to Brother Minister Jamil Muhammad, who married you and your husband from the pictures that I've seen, and just asking them what were some questions that they thought would be good for me to ask you. And both of them talked about, and I agree with them, to hear you give us your testimony, give us your story of your journey to Islam. So if you can share with the viewing audience, how did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and then eventually join?
Oh my God. My husband, which was not my husband at the time, we would interact and he invited me to a meeting, right? Now, mind you, he never told me he was Muslim, okay? He just told me he wanted me to come to a meeting. And what I told him, I said, okay, I'm gonna go to your meeting, but you're gonna have to, and at the time I was in the church, right? Mm-hmm. So I said, if I go to your meeting, you're gonna have to come to a meeting with me, right? So he invited me out to hear Minister Abdul Sharif Muhammad. He came to the city and oh my God, Minister Sharif was up there throwing down. Do you hear me? I mean, he was getting at it and he let loose a few cuss words and I was like, oh my God, I like him. He cursed. I like to curse too. Not knowing then, you know, and I just was like, this is it. And then another Minister Jamil came to the city and, you know, he kind of slid it in there like, you know, when y'all get ready to get married, I'm going to come back and marry you. You know, like, ain't nobody thinking about getting married right now, Brother Jamil. What you talking about? And what really did it, oh my God, Brother Minister Harold from New Orleans, that brother came through and Allah was just, he was just sending, so it was like he was just sending so many angels after me, you know. And I heard that brother teaching on Lazarus and I threw up my hands. I said, this it. You got me. And from that point, I started going to my MGT class and, you know, just in that finding that this is where I belong. Mm-hmm. This is who I am already. I had to literally go to MGT class to read about myself, not knowing who I was. But it's like Allah was like, look, here you go. You found what you're looking for. Now accept it. Accept your own and be yourself. Yeah. And that I did.
Wow. May Allah be pleased with our brother Harold, because he played such a significant role in establishing Islam here in the city of New Orleans. What are some of your other founders' memories of Brother Harold, if you have any?
Well, that was really the only one. Mm-hmm. He came to the city and I can remember he was so kind. You know, you wouldn't have thought that he was, the way he was throwing down on their rostrum, you know, that was, but he was so kind and he came and shook my hand and, you know, he was very receptive, you know, and that was one of the things that I remember the most. And the brother could teach hard. I mean, oh, yes, indeed. He got me. Yeah. He did that.
Yeah, Brother Harold was definitely a flamethrower from that rostrum. And, you know, you are in the city of Monroe, Louisiana, which has a very historical event took place in the Nation of Islam. Is written about in Message to the Black Man with Brother Troy X. Cade, now known as Brother B.I. Muhammad. Like, what are your thoughts about that, knowing that you are in the city where the police raided the temple at that time and actually tried to lynch and kill, you know, the minister of that city?
Well, the enemy gonna do what the enemy gonna do. and the believer gonna do what the believer gonna do. And I've had the opportunity on several occasions to speak with Minister B.I. And oh my God, he's a character. I love him to death. And just to know that the enemy has done everything and tried everything that they can to destroy what God has put in place. And it's like they don't get it, but they're only acting in who they are, right? So you can't destroy anything that God has put in motion. And with that, you know, we're going to be tested and tried. Surah 29. You know, with the spider, we're going to be tested and tried. But in the test and the trial, we find ourselves and we find our strength of who we are and whose we are. So Allah will allow the enemy to come, but he's also allowing us to see in the midst of that who we are.
Beautiful, beautiful. And are you a native of Monroe? And if so, how was it growing up in the city of Monroe, Louisiana?
Well, I am. I grew up actually in West Monroe, Louisiana. The Twin City is a twin city of Monroe, and just a little country girl, you know. I was just loved tremendously by a grandmother, Helen Bell Boatman, who just showed me really how to give, how to accept others. She would literally just bring the whole community in her house and feed them. On Friday nights, that was hamburger night. Everybody knew to come to Miss Helen's house for hamburgers on Friday, you know. And so I grew up with a bunch of strong women in my household that they pooled their resources together and got the job done. And I grew up seeing that, women working together. Yes. And and women that covered me, basically, they protected me. So it was just just regular old life, nothing spectacular, nothing, just going on, but what was going on outside playing, just doing things that children do. And I was one who liked to go outside and dig worms for my uncle to go fishing. I was always the one playing in the dirt, digging worms and just doing little things like that. So just a regular old life, beloved, just a regular old life.
Wow, well, that's interesting for you to share that about your mother and her having that giving spirit and, the stuff that she did, because you are like that. Looking back at your life, do you see how her qualities have influenced you?
Yes.
Islam, and if so, how?
Yes. Just again, the women that were in my life, they gave their all to their family. They gave, when I tell you, they fed the community. They were constantly giving of their family. They took care of us. A mother who was a hard worker, working 2 jobs sometimes to make sure that her daughters was taken care of. A strong Black woman. And those qualities, I thank Allah that He was allowed me to see in my mother, in my grandmother, in my Aunt Noni, in my Aunt, to just see women gathered together working for the cause of their family. And I thank Allah that I was able to see that, because those very things are the things that He has put in myself.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, we're coming up on our first break. We thank you all for tuning into NNV News Network, and we're going to pause for some brief announcements, and we'll be right back.
Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Your support helps us to highlight solutions for a brighter tomorrow. Go to nnvnews.com/donate.
This is Sister Sajida Muhammad. We are proud to announce that the Sajda House commemorative Elijah coins are finally here. This priceless heirloom, made from recycled copper from the messenger's home, is now available at sajdahouse.com.
The hashtag Bank Black social media campaign made strides not only in revolutionizing how we bank, but also how we think. The movement inspired thousands of African Americans across the country to transfer or deposit millions of dollars into Black-owned banks. These are banks that will invest in urban communities, employ African Americans, support Black businesses, and inspire Black home ownership. This is a very proud moment for our culture as we are taking small, but significant, steps towards building Black power through Black wealth.
Please share your thoughts with us in the comment section below. Follow us on social media at NNV News, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel at National Network View. I am Sonya Muhammad with nnvnews.com.
It was this man.
The numerous sisters who can give there are numerous sisters who can give testimony after testimony of how the Spirit of God in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has given them life.
It was this man, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, who, when the heart of the Black nation was broken, picked up the pieces to the detriment and danger of himself and his family. And we will not tolerate disrespect of this man. We will not take it. And all praise is due to Allah for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
And we're back with our sister Sonya Muhammad. So we'll get to this. Our next question is this. I was told that your first time meeting the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was unplanned and it happened in Atlanta. So can you take us back to that moment and explain how that happened and the impact that it had on you?
Oh my goodness. Atlanta. The minister was giving a lecture. It was titled The Spider that Sunday. And weeks before that, I just happened to be like on my couch reading the final call, right? So, and I was reading about God appearing in the person of Master Brother Muhammad. So I don't know what it was, but I kind of went into a meditative mode, okay? And I heard this voice, and it basically told me, you would be able to take Farrakhan a gift. And I was like, me? You know, I'm like looking like me. So some weeks passed, and I, you know, at the time I had just a little small tax business, and the number I heard in the voice was actually what I took him, right? But I got everything together, and my cousin Cedric at the time, I was like, look, I need you to drive me down to Atlanta. The minister coming, you know? And he was like, okay. So I got all packed up and ready to go. And Minister Jamil, I met him. We were at one of the colleges where he was raising money for the minister, right? So I gave him these 2 cashier checks. I said, Brother Jamil, could you please get these to the minister for me? And he was like, yes, ma'am. And I thought that was it. Okay. I just said, here, give it. That's it. Oh my God. What happened? So it was a sister at the door the next morning. That was on a Saturday night. That Sunday morning, I got dressed. I went to the mosque, and it was this beautiful sister at the door waiting on me. And I'm looking, she grabbed my hand, and we're like two little children just walking down the aisle at the mosque in Atlanta. And she sent me on the front row. I'm like, okay, what's going on? So then Minister Jamil gets up on fire, raising charity for the minister. Then he took a pause. There's a sister in the audience that has brought the minister a $30,000 gift. And stand up, Sister Sonya. And of course, I'm just a baby in the nation at this time, 6 months in. And I'm just a boo-hooing. And I'm like, why the world is he calling me? Talking about stand up. Brother Willie, I literally felt like I was in heaven. The whole mosque erupted. Wow. Okay? The whole mosque. And there was this brother behind me. He was an older brother. I knew he had to have been, every bit of at least 90. That brother got up out of his seat and made his way to me. He grabbed my hand and he kissed me on my jaw. And he said, may Allah continue to bless you, sister. And I'm just like, I felt like I was in a bubble, literally. And I'm looking around like, what the heck is going on? You know, Brother Jamil, and all I could think was, Brother Jamil, I'm going to get you, you know. And so the minister came out and he gave his lecture and he was teaching on the spider. Do men think that they will be left alone on saying that they believe and not be tried? And that was I was like, he was feeding me the whole time, me not knowing. So at the end of the lecture, the minister said, I hear there's a sister here, you know, in his strong voice, that bought me a gift. Where's she at? My head it instantly went down. I was like, Jesus, what's going on? And I sit there. I ain't move. He said, where's she at? I said, here I go, Brother Minister. Here I am. I better get up. I'm telling myself at this time, I better get up out this seat. So he called me up on the stage. Oh my goodness. I'm like a little kid in the candy store. And I was so mesmerized. And I was telling him, and for some reason his mic went off. Mm. And I was telling him in his ear, I said, Brother Minister, Allah put it on my heart to do this for you. Mm. He spoke to me and told me I would do this. He said, did y'all hear what she said? But somehow Allah allowed the mic to go off. And they did not hear me. And so I'm just sitting there in awe, like, oh my God. You know, and so he grabbed my hand real tight and he said, thank you, sister. Wow. Excuse the tears. Wow. He said, thank you, sister. And the brother, you know, he grabbed my, you know, the back of my garment for me to sit down. And I did. And I sit there and I was like, I had to sit there for a minute to take it all in. And I was like, what in the world just happened? Wow. I'm a baby. Wow. I'm only about 6 to 8 months in this thing. What just happened? Wow. When you are picked and when you are chosen to do a thing, you just do it. Wow. You just do it when Allah has plucked you out of the flower garden and put you amongst the rest of the flowers. man, that's a beautiful thing. And excuse my tears, but I'm just so thankful to the God that he would pick and choose me. That was just one task.
Yeah.
Just one out of many.
Well, you know, hopefully, God willing, we'll get the opportunity to hear those other minis, and you don't have to apologize for your tears, because it's all out of your love for a man that we know that loves us. You know, he's the embodiment of love. When I think about it, his love that he has for us as a people. And I was also told you have also had the opportunity to be invited to what we say or refer to in the Nation of Islam as the Palace, which is the home of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You were there, and your husband with a dinner for a dinner that with other ministers. What was that experience like?
Oh my goodness, that was so beautiful. Right after Savior's Day, we had the opportunity, by invitation of Sister Carmen Muhammad, to go. And this was funny. This was the funny. It was a few funny things that happened that night. But after the first thing was when we first came in, and of course I'm taking off my shoes and, you know, my head down, taking off my shoes. And I look up and the minister just standing there in the door. I was like, oh my God, I saw him like Brother Minister. And so he smiled. He gave me the greens back. Wa alaikum salam. And so I'm just taking off my shoes. So he's going down the hall because a brother had made him, I think it was some like snakeskin shoes that year that he had on. And he told someone, go to that door and get my shoes so nobody won't walk out of here with my shoes. So then I was getting ready so we can go to the table. And Sister Claudette grabbed my husband and she put him at the table with the ministers. I was like, okay, Nasir, that's a sign, So, and she was like, well, the ministers are sitting here at the table. My husband got up. Oh my God. He got up out that seat so fast. He was like, I'm not a minister. And he ran over there where I was. And that was too funny because he was like, I don't belong over there. I belong over here with you. I was like, well, you better come on, dear. And so the minister finally came, and oh my goodness, we were treated. Some good old bean soup and salmon, and the food was good, but not only was the physical food good, the spiritual food was good, because baby, we had Savior's Day number 2 in that piece, okay? The minister was at the top at the table, and when I tell you, he was teaching hard, and he was teaching so hard, he was about to come up out the seat. He was at the head of the table, but he was about to come up out of his seat. So that's just one of the beautiful memories that I have being at the palace. I've been there a few times, but that was just one of the good memories at the palace with the minister.
Well, quickly, we have 2 more minutes before our next break. Tell us about one of the other times you were there at the palace.
Oh my God. I had the opportunity again after another event to go. And I would always, when I would go, take him a gift, take him a few gifts. And so I had purchased this angel. Oh my God, he was so pretty. But his wings, the wings of the angel was wrapped around the children, right? And I said, oh my God, Brother Minister, this angel reminded me so much of you. And I gave it to him. And he looked at it and he said, oh, thank you, sister. I'm going to sit it right here. And so he turned around and put it on the table, and he sit it right behind him. And a few times after, I had a chance to go to the, palace to see the minister. And I said, oh, wow, Brother Minister, you still have your angel sitting there. He said, yes, beloved. So he's so, oh my God, he's so humble. Such a beautiful man. Such a beautiful man. And a man who has been all around the world to just welcome a believer, just a regular believer in his home, and embrace us with love and joy and just, oh my God, a beautiful experience.
We thank you, sister, for what you're sharing and your sincerity and your love. And we're coming up on our next break, and we'll be right back after these brief announcements.
Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Your support helps to combat false media. Cash App NNV News.
This is Sister Sonya Muhammad. We are proud to announce that the Sajda House commemorative Elijah coins are finally here. As we renovate and restore the former home of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we have recycled the old copper gutters and downspouts and created a 1 ounce 39 millimeter coin made of 100% pure copper. Each coin is professionally graded and has its own barcode and registration number. This priceless heirloom, made from recycled copper from the messenger's home, is now available at sajdahouse.com.
Worldwide, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download the Final Call Radio app and take us everywhere. On your phone, on your computer, on your tablet, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also log on to finalcall.com and click the Listen Live button, or finalcallradio.com. Final Call Radio, the official voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam.
Thank you for tuning in to NNV News. Please share your thoughts with us in the comments section below. Follow us on social media at NNV News, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel, National Network View. This is Clifton Muhammad with NNVnews.com.
There are numerous sisters who can give testimony after testimony about how the Spirit of God and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has given them life.
When we talk about testimonials and the man of God, and talking about the man of God, how he touched our lives in the Christian church, to give your testimony is to tell how you encountered and you were saved by Jesus. And I can definitely say that the Jesus in our midst, none other than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, hearing him and listening to him, that I was tremendously saved by him, because Lord knows I was going on, not on the straight path, but I was going on that other path that we pray about that we don't want to be on. And so I prayed to Allah, you know, that he would guide me on the straight path. And he did, because my heart's desire was to be and is to be one with Allah. So encountering, because it was an encounter at first, you know, the man of God. I knew right then and there, that's where I needed to be.
In addition, Sister Sonya, in addition to you having the opportunity to be invited to the palace, I was also informed by your husband that you also had the great experience of being invited to the forum in Michigan, where the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan delivered the historic July 4th, 2020 lecture titled The Criterion. How was that experience for you?
Oh, yes, the forum. I've been to the forum a few times. Right. And one of the times, of course, we would be called out, you know, for laborers meetings. But in that, the minister, man, he would lay it out. You know, we would be out there. He would have his son Louis, you know, he would be out there DJing, and we would be out there, and just after getting fed, you know, spiritually with the words that he gave us as laborers, we were also fed physically. You know, it's like a big family barbecue out there, you know. And that was on one occasion. On another occasion, I had the chance to go to seek counsel from the minister. And you talking about, he really wasn't feeling good that day. But he came out, and we was up under the gazebo, and he came out and he just fed me words of wisdom, words of guidance, words of support. He took out of his day and his time when he wasn't even feeling good to counsel his sister. You know, you're talking about a man that loves us dearly, dearly. I don't doubt that at all. And I've had, times we went out and we were had a chance to get in the farm. In his farm and pick vegetables, and Sister Bessie Jean out there showing us how to grow vegetables and just how to do the soil and the bitter stuff. He's something else. I'm telling you, I think he has some mosquitoes out there on the farm when it's time to go. They like his little soldiers, like it's time for y'all to go. So when things were just kind of, just sun started going down, the minister came out, him and Mother Khadijah on that little cart of his. And we were listening to music. So, all the believers was out there having a good time dancing. And he got at the front of the line, and him and his cart, him and Mother Khadijah. And all you could see was his head just bouncing to the music. And he's at the front of us, leading us on out the farm, it's Brother Willie, it's so many good memories of him and how he's treated us as believers. Now he'll get in our backside too now, but we know it's all out of love. But so many good memories of a man who has given his life for us.
Appreciate that. Well, the title of this show is "I Have a Testimony," and the purpose is to help people to gain a better understanding of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the beauty of his heart, right?
Yes,
so if you had, the scripture says that Satan was defeated by the blood of the Lamb and the power of their testimony. So if you had the opportunity to testify before the world about the three qualities of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, what would those three qualities be and why?
Well, the first one would be he's a humble man. And I could say that because of personal interaction with him. A humble man. You're talking about a man who's been all over the planet, but yet and still make time for us. He's a truthful man. Just for him to risk everything to tell everyone the truth about who he is, who God is, who the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is, who we are. We were never to be told who we are, but he was bold enough to tell us the truth about ourselves. Now be yourself, accept your own and be yourself, be who you are. And another thing I would say about the minister, a giving man, giving, one who has given his life, literally, for us. I mean, it's so much, but those are the three that right now come to mind. And when I get off here, I'm probably going to say, God, I should have said that. But those are the three things that come to mind right now.
Yes, ma'am. And you mentioned about you've had several interactions with the minister, counseling with the minister. As you sit here, is there any one thing or anything that comes to your mind about an experience with the minister that you want to share that you haven't had the opportunity to do so? If so, you can now.
Well, one thing, I had a chance to, on my way out the palace, I was on my way, we was getting ready to wrap up our meeting. And I was telling the minister on my way out, I said, Brother Minister, I said, I love God. I always have, even before, coming into this journey. I said, and I asked God one day, God, why can't I meet you? I want to see you. I want to meet you. I said, and Brother Minister, he ran me right into you. And he looked, you know how he'll kind of squinch them eyes, and he said, I am not he, sister. But one day, we will all get a chance to see him as who he is.
Wow.
Powerful.
Beautiful. Which shows like the minister is not, as you can bear witness, he's not the type of person that's trying to get people to worship him, or idolize him. And he spends just as much time trying to get people to see that, recognize our own greatness, and also recognize that he sees us as being greater than him, as big as that idea is, right?
Right. Yes, sir. He just, man, I'm just like in awe, because when I think about Sonya Muhammad in the midst of the minister, not and feeling his power. I'll tell you about that. Feeling his magnetism. A man who he don't he don't try to just make a big deal of himself. He's doing what God has put him on this planet to do. And he's not boastful. He don't brag. He's just being who he naturally is, and that's the minister. And I can remember another time being on the farm. We were out there, and I don't know how I got these bionic ears that day, but he was at the end, like way on the end of the table, and he was talking to Brother Rahman, and he said, "Hey, Rock," just being the minister, and he said, "Hold on, brother, hold on. Our Father coming. Brother, just hold on." And so as he came on down the line, he's greeting the believers, and he encountered a sister, and he, gave her the greetings, and she was like, Brother Minister, and my sister came with me, my other sisters or the believers came with me, or whatever it was she said. And he looked back there at me, and he said, "My sister." And I was like, "Hey, Brother Minister." He said, "Assalamu alaikum." I said, "Wa alaikum salam, Brother Minister." He said, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm doing just fine, sir." And after I said, "I'm doing just fine, sir," I found myself 2 seconds later wrapped around him. He pulled me to himself.
Wow.
He pulled me. I could literally, it's like my feet started going and I couldn't stop them. And I was just wrapped around him, and I'm looking like, how do I get over here? And my feet got stuck, and he told us not to wear heels, Brother Willie, but I had on heels anyway. And my feet got stuck in the grass, and I'm wrapped around the minister.
Wow.
Magnetized. Power.
Wow, that's a very powerful testimony. And you've experienced it, and you see that love. So, man, it's so beautiful what you're sharing. We're coming up on our last break. We thank you all who are tuning into NNV, and we'll be right back after these brief announcements.
Be Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Your support helps us to highlight solutions for a brighter tomorrow. Go to nnvnews.com/donate.
He anointed our head with oil till our cup runneth over. He who, Master Muhammad, that is he.
Greetings from National Network View. This week's Final Call cover story headline reads, Injustice yesterday, no justice today. After many high-profile cases, blank political statements are made. Public tears, street protests, and cries of outrage are expressed, but no one goes to jail. From George Floyd to Emmett Till, after the pleas and promises, black people still get little to no justice. The question is, why? What have we learned? And can this injustice system ever change? Page 3 of the Final Call covers the full story. This FCN volume number 25 edition features the middle page article by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. The message is entitled, Justice, a Prerequisite to Life. To read more, subscribe to finalcalldigital.com and tune in to the all-new Final Call Radio. This is the nnvnews.com Final Call cover report.
Not only has the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan been used as an instrument to give women spiritual life, Allah God has also used him to bring back women who are on the verge of death.
I thank Allah for my mother and father because they're the ones that made the sacrifice for my sisters and I. And I thank Allah that they reared me with a love of truth and a pride and consciousness in being black, so that when the time came that I would be tried, and in my case it was a cancer diagnosis. There are many different ways that the light comes to us, but I am so thankful to Allah that when I first heard Minister Farrakhan, I was in the throes of cancer, so that I would not have to struggle with a dilemma. Because I was in the throes of death and he was sunlight, sunshine, and life. And so, no, I just have had nothing but blessings.
So we're back with our sister Sonya Muhammad. And, you know, dear sister, as I shared with you before when I called you to extend the invitation about this interview, you know, one of the things that you taught me is you are a charitable person yourself. But one of the things you taught me is that we also need to know how to receive, because sometimes God sends us blessings and we reject the blessings because we don't feel worthy of receiving, right? So my question I want to ask you, why is it like you have a very charitable spirit? Why is that so? And how has being charitable blessed you?
Oh, man, I want to read something, if you would allow me, and I already have it open because I knew this was coming. And it's from the Holy Quran, chapter 57. It is called The Iron, and it reads from 18. The men who give in charity and the women who give in charity and set apart for Allah a goodly portion, it will be doubled for them, and theirs is a generous reward. And those who believe in Allah and his messenger, they are truthful and the faithful ones with their Lord. They have their reward in their life. And that's one of the things, even before I came into Islam, Brother Willie, I've always been a giving person. I've always helped those around me because I have a heart to not want to see anyone suffer. I don't like to see people suffer. And if I have, beloved, I'll give. I always have been that way. And even in the church, when I was in the church, they loved seeing Sister Sonya come through the door because they knew she had a check in her hand, right? But I haven't always been able to give in a manner. Allah spoke to me and told me he was going to bless me to help others. So I'm only doing and I'm only following the instructions that he has given me. And seeing how my grandmother was blessed in the way she gave. And it wasn't always financial. Like I told you, she fed the whole community. My grandmother always had the words of God in her mouth. Always. So even with me having the heart to not want to see people suffer, and I just want to see people smile. And if I can give $10 here, $20 there, to help put a smile on somebody's face, I've done it. I've given in so many ways. And it's even to the point I had a young lady to run up to me in the grocery store one day. She said, I remember you. And I was like, what you talking about? And she said, you bought me groceries one day. She said, I'll never forget you. I said, I did? She said, yeah. And when you do it unselfishly, let me just say that, you know your return and your reward is with your God. So that's why I do it. Wow. So the bank don't even promise you double the portion back, but the God do. So I give it and I don't mind giving it. Because whether it comes back financially, whether it comes back in me waking up in the morning with food on my table and clean clothes on my back, whether it comes back in me having a husband here to help me, whether it comes back that he has provided my children with a roof over their head, regardless to the way it comes back, he said he promises it back to you double, to the tenfold. However it comes back, Allah never fails in his promise.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. And I've also, in preparing for this, I see that you've had the experience of traveling all over the world, but you've also traveled with our Sister Carmen, who was able to place before the international fashion designers the style of the MGT and GCC. So can you tell us more about that experience?
Oh, yes, sir. That was so beautiful. And I thank Allah for my beloved Sister Carmen Abdullah Muhammad, who's a soldier in the cause of Allah. And we've been, oh my God, stuck together now for about 16 years. We've been on this journey together. And she is one, she loves Farrakhan. And she is one who, what I love about her, she don't make excuses for putting her headpiece on. Because this is who we represent. We represent the God who came in the person of Master Father Muhammad. We represent the most honored Elijah Muhammad, and we represent Farrakhan. So to be able to travel the world, Dubai, Italy, Paris, with sisters who think just like she does. We ain't scared. We're going to put our headpiece on, show the world the beauty that he has given us. Man, it was so, people was coming up to us. Who are you? Where y'all come from? Can we take a picture with you? You are so beautiful. Wow, where did y'all come from? We came from the wilderness of North America, and we've been saved, or been saved, or striving to be saved by one who came 9,000 miles to get us. That's who we are. We can't be scared to represent him because we've been picked and chosen to represent him. So what you scared of? This ain't the day to be scared. This ain't the day. What's the name of your show, Brother Willie? I have a testimony. Have a testimony of one who has came and put me in a class to learn more about him. But not to learn about him, but to learn about myself and my relationship with him. So these are a few things he's promised. Luxury, money, good home, friendships in all walks of life.
That's right.
That was one of his promises, and we met so many people. Wow. Oh my God, white, black, all races.
And how was that? How was that to see? Because this was not only were the MGT styling and fashioning the garments, there were some points where the garments were worn by actual international models, right?
What? Yes, sir. But they didn't have a headpiece on.
Yeah, they didn't have a headpiece on.
We didn't put them in a headpiece. But at the same time, they were covered. And one of the young ladies, she told us, I feel so beautiful. Because so many people had snatched and grabbed her to be walking around, half covered. But she said, I feel so beautiful in these garments. I feel beautiful. And that's what the God, he came to do, to cover us up, to make us feel beautiful and to make us look beautiful and to show the world they mine. They belong to me. They don't mind covering. They don't mind saying that they belong to me because I came to get them. So just the whole international experience was, oh my God, it was so beautiful. And I think each time I cried like a baby to see Sister Harmony with her beautiful self and the sisters come down the stage working it, Brother Willie.
Wow.
And they was happy to do so.
Yes, ma'am.
Happy to do so.
Yes, ma'am. Well, inshallah, we in preparing for this interview, I said, man, we got to get with Sister Carmen. So after that, I'll give you a call and you can put me in contact with her so we can have her to come on and give her a testimony. Sister Sonya, thank you. If you get back, when you get the opportunity to look through this, you can see the comments. Your testimony is touching people. They feel touched. They feel that was heartfelt, powerful testimony. Thank you for coming on, just being you and giving your testimony about a man who gives his life to us, who has sacrificed his family and sacrificed his family in everything, in regards to that. Is there anything that you wanted to share that you did not have the opportunity to share? If so, you can use this time to do it.
No, sir. I'm just humble. I'm blessed. Oh, and one thing, when we put words out there, we better be ready because the God will call you on your words. And I remember saying one time, God, when it's time for me to stand up and tell and give my story, I'm going to tell it. I'm going to shout it from the mountaintop. I said that, but I didn't think it was going to come this fast. So when the God called you on something that you said you was going to do, just be ready.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
all I got to say, beloved.
Well, thank you, sister, for your testimony. And we thank everybody that actually tuned in to NNV News. And make sure you tune in throughout the rest of the week. Remember, this is a daily news network, 5 p.m. Central Time. Get the news from a Black perspective, but also through the lens of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And as we get ready to close out, just go through our closing announcements. As you know, here in the city of New Orleans, Louisiana, we're working to pay off our mosque mortgage so we can begin to use that money we pay to a Black bank so we can do more things in the city of New Orleans, like the conflict resolution hotline. So we greatly appreciate whatever you can give, and we thank each and every one of you all for what you've given thus far. We also, if you need somebody to pray for you and your family during this time, after this time, please submit your name and the names of your loved ones to us, and we'll submit it to our prayer group here in the city of New Orleans, Louisiana. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button for NNV, and make sure you spread the word to let people know we have our own daily news network. This is your brother, Brother Willie Muhammad, with I Have a Testimony. See you next time.
God came to us to seek and to save that which was lost. He raised a man from among us.
He, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, laid the foundation. What I'm doing is something that comes from him through me, and the thing that he uses in me to do the work is my faith in him and the word that he taught. To produce men and women who wanted to clean up their life and build an independent nation for the glory of God.
Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Your support helps to combat false media. Cash App NNV News.